Welcome to the I Love Coaching podcast, the show where we help coaches, entrepreneurs, and leaders build businesses that create massive impact. I'm Adam Roach, alongside my incredible co-host,
Jess Weber, and we're here today to bring you the best strategies, mindset shifts, and real-life success stories to help you level up in your coaching journey.
Whether you're launching your coaching business, scaling to 6 or 7 figures, or just looking for inspiration to push through, this podcast is your go-to resource.
We're bringing you expert insights, real talk, and actionable items every single episode. So if you're ready to take your coaching game to the next level,
then let's dive on in. Mr. Steve Rupp, thanks for jumping on here in this case study for I Love Coaching. The goal is to share your story, right? Ultimately, that's really what this is about, so that other coaches can learn from it. And so I want to keep this super casual and very focused. And in the same breath is I want to cover where you started, where you shifted, the results, and the advice you would give to others. So let's start in the very beginning here. Tell us before you stepped into the coaching space, and I know you'd help many, many people in a space of leadership and growing with your real estate company. But tell us a little bit before you stepped into a professional coaching space. What'd you do? What were you doing?
I was selling houses.
Yes, you were.
I was hawking the houses. So I did, it was a family business. My dad did it for 25 years. I jumped into it after I did a few other things before real estate because I saw what my dad went through and I'm like, I don't want to do that. And so ended up a situation presented itself and took over the business. And then I grew up for 25 years, had a team. We were, I think, top 0.5% in the city. And we helped a lot of people, sold over $250 million in real estate. And we've helped thousands, over 2,500 families. And it was really good until it wasn't. And I got to a point where I was burned out. It's tough. You know, anyone who's in real estate knows it's a tough field, not only to enter into, but then to be successful and to continue to be successful. It takes a big emotional strain on you, and it's a grind. And so to me, I made a decision one day where I was like, I don't want to leave what I feel is one of the greatest industries in the world. And I want to stay in that space, but I want to do something different. And so I chose at that point to be more of a teacher and a coach, two separate things. But I wanted to do that. And so, that's when you and I had a conversation. And of course, I mean, we've known each other for over 15 years.
Yeah.
And I mean, you were my very first team leader who brought me into the KW ecosystem.
Right.
And so we go way back, and you know what I was like back then, and you know where I am now. I'm a very different real estate agent than most agents. I accept that. I understand that, and that's good.
Right.
And so that's going to kind of play into some of these questions that you talk about, because I know I love coaching is more than just like being a real estate coach. You have we have coaches from all industries, and it doesn't necessarily have to be real estate. That's been your background, so you clearly attract a lot of those. And there's a lot of other coaches that can come in from all kinds of backgrounds and benefit from the same blueprint and structure, not just real estate agents. But that was my background. And to make things even more, because I'm not a quote unquote traditional real estate agent. And by that, I mean that your traditional real estate agents are, super outgoing, not structured, just let me get in front of people. I'll talk to people, whatever. That's your typical real estate agent is a, disc personality, a D and an I. So outgoing, let me just talk to people, whatever. And then that's not me. I am very detailed. I'm very systematic. And so that's kind of my superpower with being able to help agents. I can talk their language. So that also made it more difficult. And as a result, I was overthinking things. And so that's when I went to you and I said, Adam, this is what I'm thinking. Kind of walk me through. Do you have a structure? Do you have a system for this? Because I need a system. I need a structure. I don't know what I'm doing. I am walking away from a business that has provided a lot for me and my family, and I am burning the boats,
Mhm.
and I need to make this happen. And
So,
so,
so stay
um,
right there for a second. So,
yeah,
because you are a very talented entrepreneur, a very talented proof of concept business owner in the real estate space, and you had this vision of transitioning into a coaching space, though there were some hurdles, there were some roadblocks, there were some obstacles, right? What made you realize that you needed help, right? What really made you realize that I needed to maybe take a different approach than just winging this?
well, first of all, I don't wing anything.
That we know that to be true, very true.
Uh, so, and I honestly, and you know this, I've been coached my whole life,
Hmm.
and so going to somebody like you, like I love coaching, was kind of a natural progression for me. That might not be what everybody thinks,
Sure,
oh, let me wing it. And that's what a traditional entrepreneur might do is
that's
let me
right.
just try it. I'm just going to go out there and do it. And they're going to go, we've had coaching calls about this in the
Mhm.
community.
Right.
You're a very entrepreneurial model. You are the we're going to win, we're going to be successful just off of sheer willpower
Hmm.
and grinding.
Right.
But that only works for so long.
Hmm.
And then you need structure, you need a system. And
Right.
we've been you coach that, and
Mhm.
that's what you have. So I'm like, instead of getting to that, and going through that, I would just like to go straight to the system.
Yep.
And I know it works, and I know that it will help because I didn't know I was in the unconscious incompetence part, which I'm not used to being. I've been in the, in that model, the consciousness model, I've been in the unconscious competence for a long time. I could sell real estate in my sleep. That's what I've literally grown up in.
Right.
And so moving backwards, regressing in that model to unconscious incompetence was really scary for me. And it was a huge risk. And having a system, somebody who's already done it before I have, was very reassuring for me.
Yeah.
And seeing the blueprint that you created was incredibly reassuring and helpful because I knew that you weren't just winging it and saying, "Well, hey, follow me." You're saying, I've not only done this, Steve, but I have a blueprint for you to follow to ensure your success as long as you follow the blueprint."
That's right. Now,
And
now again,
that was
you
it.
you said this, and not me saying this. This is you said this. Though I love this language about you, that you're not like everybody else, right? You definitely aren't. Though, if you would have, because most people wing it. Most people will say, "I've got experience there. I can go coach anybody on anything around this world." Let's say of real estate, right? If you would have done that, what do you think it would have cost you? What do you think it would have cost you in terms of time and in terms of energy, maybe even money? What do you think it would have cost you?
I, I mean, an honest answer, I have no idea,
Yeah.
but it wouldn't have been good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's what I can say. I don't know what would have happened.
Hmm.
But what I can say is that the learning curve was, instead of maybe gradual, it was more like a hockey stick.
Hmm.
And that's the benefit that I found in I Love Coaching. And to your point of, yes, I am different from other agents. And I will say this.
Hmm.
I think for me, it was probably a little bit easier because I'm used to creating systems. Most real estate agents are not used to that. And
Right.
so, in my opinion, I feel that your traditional real estate agent, your traditional entrepreneur, it doesn't have to be a
Yeah.
real estate agent. Your traditional entrepreneur is going to do this solely on grit and talent. And that only
Hmm.
works for so long. If they just shortcut all that pain,
Right.
all of the trial and error that they don't need to do, they can save themselves a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of stress, a lot of effort
Hmm.
if they just go to a system that you already have created and you've proven, and you're in, is this the sixth version of the blueprint? Is that what you're on?
Actually, we're approaching 8.
Eight. Okay.
Yeah.
So you constantly refine it, which is
Hmm.
awesome. You don't just set it and forget it. So that's
Right.
even more valuable. You see what works, you find ways to improve it, and you're
Hmm.
constantly improving the version. So my point is that if anybody is thinking about, what do I do? If I'm thinking about getting into coaching, can you do muscle your way through it? Perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
But why would you if you can follow a system that already is proven to work? Number one. Number two, you have a whole community of people who've already been there who can help support you and want to and have a vested interest in your success and are willing to come together to help back that up, back up the blueprint that we've all been through.
Mm-hmm.
And we all have our unique experiences in all of our own industries, some of which is real estate, some of which is not.
Mm-hmm.
And we all have similarities that we can use to benefit and help prop each other up
Yeah.
and cheer each other on to our successes using a proven system that works.
What do you think was your let's now step into the language that you've used here with the blueprint and the community. What do you feel has been your biggest shift or breakthrough that you've had inside of ILC?
The biggest thing that I got out of it was kind of going back to what we talked about before is the models,
Yeah.
using models. Um, Coaching and teaching are two different things, and we have coaches that do one or the other, and some coaches like me do both.
Mm-hmm.
Teaching is telling, coaching is asking.
Mm-hmm.
Most in the most simplest terms, that's how I describe it.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that for a lot of people, especially when you're just getting into like coaching, if you're getting into the coaching space, it feels very lonely because most of us are running our own businesses. We're
Sure.
solopreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
And so to answer your question, one of the biggest ahas I've had was entering a community of people who are like-minded, who can help support me and knowing that I'm not the only one feeling this way.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not the only one who's alone. It helps give you confidence. They help cheer you on. So that was one thing that was really, really good. The other thing was I like systems and models
Mm-hmm.
because I know they work. And the coaching space in and of itself was a little scary to me because I didn't see a system and a model that I've been able to follow for real estate
Yeah.
that was available. And so having that system and model that I could follow, not only to help me with my business, but also to help me within my coaching sessions for the agents that I coach has been very helpful to
Mm-hmm.
me and has made me feel like I've been able to have a better and more efficient impact on them versus having to learn it all on my own as I go and fumble
Yeah.
my way through it, which I've had to do. Of course, everyone does it for the first
Mm-hmm.
time. And I've found that I've gotten better. So languaging absolutely 100% helps.
Yeah.
Models help. A community of like-minded people, so you're not alone, absolutely helps. And then not only having the blueprint, but then the coaching on a weekly basis that you take us through with all these different models have been
Mm-hmm.
incredibly helpful because then I've been able to use those models in my own coaching of
Love it.
the agents that I coach myself. So I
Love it.
don't have to go figure it out. You've already done it.
Yeah, it's good.
And it
Let's
makes it a
go.
lot easier.
Let's stay in the same path here. When people step into something new, they have visions of what they think it's going to look like, right?
Mhm.
Um, and I want to go because you're not really a surprise kind of guy, right? You are very process oriented, you are very factual oriented, though I've seen your growth. I've watched your growth. I've experienced your growth in this space. Going through the process, right? The real coach method process. What has surprised you the most about that process and even your growth in that process?
There is a way to promote, there is a system that you can use to promote yourself to success.
Mm,
And it's funny because it's almost like you were in my brain for a minute when you were just talking about that because changing from one thing to a next is hard. So here's the deal. Most of us who get into coaching, there's a reason we're not like still wet behind the ears. We've done whatever it is that we've done, whether it be real estate or whatever it is that we're coaching, the space that we're in, we probably have done it before.
hmm
And so we're coaching, as you had said, we're coaching agents who were a former version of ourselves.
That's right.
And we're, as you say, you need to be a chapter ahead, not necessarily a whole novel ahead. But
hmm
we're coaching these people that were former versions of ourselves, so we can
hmm
see ourselves in them and where we were. And that's why we're coaching, because we've been there before. here's the hard part. If you have been doing what you did before and you're coaching people in that space, you probably were not necessarily selling yourself.
Mm,
You were selling something else. Now you could say, "Oh, Steve, real estate agents sell this stuff." Yes, that's right. But you're also selling more of a system, a marketing plan, a marketing system, and information to buyers and sellers. You're not selling yourself as much. And I've seen this in other people in the community where they kind of struggle with the why am I having such a hard time selling myself?
mm,
And I know you see this too. We talk about
mm.
this on our
Yeah,
calls because people aren't used to doing that
right.
because we are the product. We are the sole product and we're not used to that.
Mhm.
And it makes it harder, I think. And that's been the biggest aha that I've had is it makes it harder because I got into this space. I have an entrepreneurial background, so I know what it's like to start a business. So I had some ideas about what that was going to look like. However, I did have a clear path,
Mhm.
and I felt like things would be a little bit easier than they tended to be because that's just the way it works when you're starting a new business.
Yeah.
Your experience at something, I would like to think I was fairly good at what I did in the space that I did it, and
Mhm.
so I figured that it would be easier. And, it wasn't. It was still an uphill battle, and there's still surprises. There are still twists and turns that I hadn't accounted for. And that's the way it is I think, with everyone's journey. It is a lot harder.
Yeah.
And so for me, having you help with clarifying the how to sell yourself, coming up with, as an example, a stadium pitch,
Mhm.
that was that was very novel to me.
Mm,
Being very clear on who you are and what you do
mm.
and bring people into your space of that stadium such that you're not excluding people right away, but you want to get that funnel, make it nice and wide. That was completely revolutionary to me. And I would believe, because I've heard a lot of people in the community talk about that is something that is very, very um, novel to a lot of coaches as they look at branding themselves and
Mhm.
selling themselves
Right.
to the people that they want to coach, and having that system, that funnel, and taking them through that process is novel. It's different, something that people weren't expecting.
Right.
And so that's been really, really fascinating for me to see.
Okay. So let's now transition into results. So we heard where you were, we've heard now the growth that you've had, and let's talk about some of the results. So the results you've had since you started, and we can talk about clients, we can talk about your group coaching, we can talk about your speaking engagements. What results have you had?
So we came in, I had no coaching clients,
Hmm.
and now I have 15,
Hmm.
which is great.
Hmm.
And I've had multiple opportunities to talk on podcasts. I think I've got like 10, 12 podcasts that I've been on as a result. I've spoken in front of probably 20 groups so far. Again, didn't have any of that, when I started. And then you know about my Premier Connect program, which is my group coaching program that I do. Um, that has taken off, and working on getting that as well. In fact, I was talking with someone earlier about this, about launching this, have a national delivery system for this, which would have never happened. And then doing some individuals, like doing some small group, it's very topic specific coaching sessions apart from the Premier Connect. So I've got lots of delivery options out there, in addition to the one-on-one coaching. And so I started with nothing. And now I've got this whole menu of services that I've developed over the past year and a half that I've been doing this. And yeah, I mean, I guess and I'm looking to speak on a national stage in the spring. And I'm working on another national stage in the fall for next year.
So
And
good.
so again, that would have never happened. And when
Mhm.
you and I initially talked for our discovery call, I was like, dude, I have no idea what I'm doing. I have no idea where I'm going. Do you believe in me? Do you think this is a right
Mhm.
fit for me? Whatever. And you and I've known each other for a very long time, and so I trusted you already. And there's people out there who might not know who you are, have the same experience that I have with you. But it was very genuine,
Mhm.
and it helped me. It's like give me the confidence to get started, to jump out and say, "Hey, no, you're not crazy. You absolutely can do this." Now, maybe the 40 clients a week working with might be a little aggressive, and I
Right.
look at
Yeah.
that now, and I'm like,
Mhm.
"What was I thinking?"
That was the goal initially. Yeah.
And I still remember you responded to me without even breaking a smile. And I look back now and I'm like, I don't know if I could have kept a straight face with somebody and said that to me. So kudos to you for doing that. But that wasn't your goal. That was mine.
Yeah.
And you were like, okay, great. What does that look like? And I remember the next question. Do you have the energy for that?
Mhm.
Sure, I do. Of course. Yeah, that was another thing that I've learned is that there's just because I've got the physical energy, it doesn't mean that I've got the mental energy
That's right.
to do that. And it takes a lot out of you. Some, again, unconscious incompetence. I had no idea. I had no clue what I was getting into or what I was doing. And so, having that and having that person you believe in, if that's what you want, then we'll support you with that goal. That's great. You can self-discover if it's right for you or not. And that's
Mhm.
what I did. I self-discovered it was not right for me for 40 coaching clients. Maybe it is for somebody else. That's great. All the more power to you.
Mhm.
But for me, it wasn't. It was a little aggressive. And there were other things that I wanted to do as well. And
Mhm.
so having 40 coaching clients wasn't the right fit for me
Yeah.
because I do want to do teaching, and that takes bandwidth too.
That's right. Last two questions. What would you what's one thing you would say to someone considering ILC, whether they were where you were or whether they're a completely different space? But what's one thing you would say to someone considering ILC, but maybe they're on the fence?
I would say just like anything, um, you need to make sure that what you're looking for aligns with what you're trying to accomplish.
Mhm.
And we talked about this before. I'll go back to the real estate space just because that's what I know.
Right.
Um, I tell people all the time, I love my brokerage. However, it's not the only brokerage out there for a reason, and there is not one right brokerage for everybody.
Right.
What I will say is that the and it's the same thing with any company. There is no one right company for everybody. What I will say is that I Love Coaching is, in my opinion, a very inclusive company that works with people from all different industries for the sole purpose of helping them not only establish but grow successfully and scale their coaching business to the degree that they want. And
Mhm.
everybody has different goals. And I would say, I what I would encourage anyone looking for like a community like an I Love Coaching community is give it a try.
Mm.
See if it resonates with you. And if it does, pull the trigger and do it. It's worth the investment because you get out of it what you put into it. People pay to pay attention,
Mm.
and paying attention is important as you take that learning curve up a hockey stick. And there's no shortage of opportunities to learn, and you can learn as fast or as slow as you want slash need. It's all there. It's all paced at the pace that you want to consume the information. And there's all kinds of different models for doing it, whether it's live large group, whether it is small group, whether it's one-on-one, whether it is live group coaching, whether it's recorded, whether it's the model, you on paper, any way you choose to consume, it's there.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, the I Love Coaching community supports the people that are there. And that's what I've loved, whether it's veteran coaches or whether it's brand new coaches. There is nobody has, in my experience, nobody has had a I'm better than you mentality. Everyone comes from contribution of I've been where you are, let me help you, and I would love to see you succeed. And I feel that that is a wonderful community to be a part of. And that is one of the reasons why I feel that anyone looking for a program or a community to help them in their coaching journey should consider I Love Coaching, because it should be a part of everyone's decision-making process. And if you feel it aligns with where you're going and how you're going to get there, there are people, there are systems and processes that will help support you in your coaching journey to move it forward faster.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Last question here. You've made all this progress in the time that you have, in the very short period of time that you have. What's next? What's next for Steve Rupp? What's next for Steve Rupp coaching?
Great question. And kind of going back into when I got started is I have goals. I know where I want to go. I know that that might not be where I end up, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. There are some opportunities that I have, as I had mentioned, to speak on some national stages, to white label my coaching program with some organizations to align with, to take my Premier Connection or my Premier Connect program national. That's what I'm looking for and looking to do, along with still doing some one-on-one coaching with clients. There will be more of a hand-selected group of clients, and I'll probably pare that back. And I know some coaches in the community have absolutely done that as well. And that is something that you teach if and when someone is ready to do that. There is a way that you can do that. But so for me, it's taking what I've created and scaling it, and the sky is the limit. So we'll see where it goes.
Yes, you will. Well, hey, thanks for sharing all of this. I know this is going to help a lot of people, and we're beyond grateful that you're part of this community, and you've already helped so many coaches internally, and where this business of yours is going to grow. That's on your shoulders, and I have no doubt it's going to appeal to a global standpoint, and that's really, really cool to watch. So, Mr. Steve Rupp, thank you for your time today. This has been fantastic.
Absolutely, Adam. Thanks for having me on.